human blood. Whoever left these marks did so deliberately. In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust. It's locked.
Dr. Reed, I know that Pembroke will survive this epidemic.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I'll think about it. Now, please, let me be.
but in the circumstances...
I have to go now, sir.
Good evening, sir. Doctor. Never gonna gain anything from her.
We may lack the resources, but we have some of the most brilliant minds in London at Pembroke.
Gone up like kindling. Go back home, idiot! It ain't human! Sorry, sir. No admittance. Sir, step away! Look at it!
is one of the main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move.
Stop following me.
How long's it going?
Good evening, Dr.
And good evening to you.
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases. Without success, I must admit.
Do you realize you could create a lethal poison without the correct dosage? Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reed? However, if you would agree to improve it, I'd be glad to accept your help.
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances and even help improve upon the mixture.
That's all I'm asking for, Dr. Reed. That's all I'm asking.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reed. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reed. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
Don't you think we have enough work already? Perhaps now is not the best time to be chasing shadows.
Chasing shadows, really? It's funny those words coming from the only doctor here who has spent more time outside this hospital than in.
Goodbye, Doctor.
Good evening, sir.
I can't let Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted formula will deliver more of a placebo effect.
Shift never
Effect on me. But the suffering continues.
Strickland's project could be dangerous. I have a mind to report him to Dr. Aykroyd.
blundering idiot.
I'm quite busy, right?
I know that you're a busy man, but I could use your help and advice.
The great Dr. Reed honors me with a request. What is it exactly?
Dr. Strickland devised an experimental drug for the Spanish flu that he asked me to manufacture.
You know what I think of fringe medical experimentation?
That's exactly why I want you to keep the result, Doctor. I made sure it won't harm anyone, but I'd like you to take care of it.
I see. Put it in my cabinet. I'll give you the key. I'll make sure no one uses this medication by mistake.
I'll do that. Thank you for your help, Dr. Ackroyd.
Thank you for your trust on the matter, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your...
I will not let you down, my...
It's locked, all right. Now that Dr. Ackroyd has been warned, he should make good use of this formula.
This hospital seems to be... Good evening, Dr.
I've read your son's medical report, Beatrice. It's not the flu or anything life-threatening. What has you so worried?
He was at death's door when he was brought here. I just want him to be better as soon as possible.
He's not out of the woods yet, you know. He might need to stay here longer than expected.
Take care of him then, Dr. Reed. People here only seem to focus on contagious patients. I worry my poor Mortimer will be neglected.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his motivations for committing suicide. Tell me more about what you know.
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place, but couldn't.
Why did your son feel so useless when facing the world?
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy facets of life. He couldn't help but dwell on such things.
What do you think he meant by making the world a better place?
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed. It's like he carries everyone's sadness with him.
Do you realize your son could try to kill himself again? He might succeed next time.
I think about it every minute. But I won't stop fighting for my son's future. That's how much I love him.
Your empathy is remarkable, But I fear that your son's decision to end his life has already been made.
How dare you talk to a mother like that? Talk to me like that?
I'm only trying to be honest, Mrs. Goswick. As painful as this fatal end may be for you, you have to accept this is a possibility.
No, I'll never accept it. If my son was to die under your care, well, you have no idea what I'm capable of, Dr. Reed.
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first attempt.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this much.
Punish you? Why?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer like this.
Goodbye, Miss. Good evening, Miss.
I'm okay.
Your medical report says you're not affected by the Spanish flu. What do you think of that, Mortimer?
Does it make me happy? Not in the slightest. If it was up to me, I would have left this place long ago. I know I don't belong here.
And why do you think you don't belong here?
I know the staff have more important things to do than look after me. There's plenty of patients here who need their attention.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
Despair is a deadly poison I've tasted myself, sir. We're only tempted to drink it because we're terrified by the uncertainty of the next minute.
I know that perfectly, Doctor. For I waited for so long, hoping that the next minute would be less unbearable.
I have...
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Come now, we can handle this.
That's Pembroke nowadays.
I thought last time was everything was difficult.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like...
Wise choice, Doctor.
I would ask you to avert your eyes, sir. Or did you not know it was rude to stare?
I knew it.
Speak up, Dr. Reed. I like a man who speaks his mind.
You killed him. He trusted you. And you killed him.
Spare me your sarcasm, Jonathan. You are but newly born in this world.
No need to apologize, my lady. I know exactly what you endure.
The situation is somewhat awkward nonetheless. I have not been observed sustaining myself for many decades. I have to say I'm a trifle embarrassed.
Anyway, I have concluded my inquiries concerning your blackmailer.
I see. Please excuse my agitated state. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't let anyone see me in this condition.
The case is closed, your ladyship. The person who took advantage of you has, shall we say, seen the error of her ways.
So who was it?
My lady. The blackmailer was dealt with using the utmost discretion. The culprit's identity is of no relevance.
Thank you, Jonathan. That is exactly what I needed from you. You have proven your loyalty, so, as a friend, please accept this small token of my appreciation.
Thank you, my lady.
If you have an inclination to learn more about vampires or your current situation, I will be glad to aid you in your quest for knowledge.
Why does Dr. Swansea allow you to feed on the patients of the hospital?
Dr. Swansea is a good and compassionate man. He is trying to find a solution for our hunger. Until that happens, he is clever enough to understand that I only feed upon the dying.
What do you know about this Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole?
The Brotherhood is well known amongst London vampire society. As long as our kind is discreet, and as long as they do not interfere, we have come to a mutual understanding.
And no one suspected you of the murders?
As you well know, suspicion has recently fallen on me of killing for pleasure. But you have my word, Jonathan. I take no pleasure in taking a life.
I know this is beyond the pale, but may I inquire your age?
Really? And I thought you were gentlemen. If you must know, I'm 27. I've been 27 for a long time now, and 27 I shall remain.
Very well. But I believe there is more to this than you are saying.
A lady has to have some secrets.
And who bestowed upon you this eternal youth?
My maker. He left this isle a long time ago.
Why did you save me in the canning factory?
I could hardly stand by and watch such a promising young blood as yourself be torn to shreds by some gutter scowl.
William Bishop wasn't the vampire that created me then?
No, Jonathan. Whatever their strength and demeanor, Scowls are the progeny of careless vampires. It cannot be the other way round.
What type of vampire is a Skull?
Not a true vampire. The deformed offspring of lesser vampires. It is a shame these creatures run wild, slaves to their baser instincts.
I've been away from London and England for 3 years. This isn't the city I remember.
Things have gone from bad to worse here, Jonathan. I've lived in this city for a long time, and I've never seen it like this.
The Spanish flu has hit London that bad?
Yes, but it's not just that. I've heard things. Things I've not heard for a very, very long time. There are whispers in the shadows. Something far worse than the Spanish flu is here in the city.
What is it you fear?
Fear has long since flown this form. But there is something malevolent circling us. I feel fear is merely waiting in the wings.
Are there many vampires here in London?
Immortals are of a rare breed, and we often tend to hide. But you may occasionally meet some of us at night.
Do you know any of them? Have you an idea of the identity of the vampire who attacked me?
You mean your maker? No, Jonathan, I have no clue. But I fear he or she is as careless as cruel. To let you discover your new condition by yourself.
What do you mean?
Every now and then, you may discover an immortal in the deep of the night. But we are a rare and reclusive breed. Our progeny is almost never accidental.
Will they all be as affable as you, my lady?
I do not see why not. But remember, even the shark smiles before he bites.
That sounds like a lesson from experience.
Vampire politics are as intricate and sometimes tedious as a game of chess in a gentleman's club. I've learned from experience it is best to decline to play.
When I awoke, changed, I was chased and attacked by vampire hunters. Prepared and well-trained.
Though I can't be certain, more than likely it was the once glorious Guard of Priwen.
Once glorious, but still dangerous.
They have seen better days, but all fanatics are dangerous. You would be wise to stay clear. They are sworn to destroy our kind.
You make them sound like some sort of cult.
More a society, and like all the best ones, a secret society. I thought them almost gone, but it seemed they have been recruiting.
I've been hearing a voice talking in my head. Is this some kind of insanity? It feels like the voice of the vampire that created me.
Hush. Tell no one this. It would be unwise to talk of such things amongst British immortals. Speak no more of your maker.
How could this cause offense?
Only the powerful immortals can mentally call to their progeny. No vampire or hunter will sleep easy, knowing that an unidentified elder is stalking the streets of London.
Excuse my forwardness, but... are you my maker?
Me? Goodness, no. Only a foolish immortal would create a progeny without taking precaution, and I'm no fool.
A vampire? Is that what I am? What we are?
Such a crude word, defined by penny dreadfuls and drunken hacks. No. You are now an Ekon, and that you shall remain.
Are you an Ekon too?
Yes, I am. We are the closest thing to what man refers to as vampires. Forget what you think you know about us.
So we are Ekons. How can I identify us amongst other vampires?
How to put it? All Ekon are vampires. But all vampires are not Ekon. We are but a branch of the immortal tree.
I don't understand. Why was I created and then left for dead?
That is a question only the one who made you can answer. It's not normal practice. I doubt even if you find him, he will answer you, considering how cruelly he treated you.
So me being a vampire could have been a mistake.
I very much doubt it, Jonathan. Contrary to the legends, it is not as simple to make another vampire by just biting someone.
I'd like to avoid creating another vampire by mistake anyway. Tell me, how is it done?
The process is dangerous. It could even kill your potential progeny. If you did decide to sire an offspring, they must drink of your blood, Jonathan.
I bid you farewell, for now, my lady. I must quickly analyze the blood I took from Nurse Crane's patient. Razvan Vasily was infected by Spanish flu, but also has the highly unstable blood of the Scowls. Is the London vampire epidemic transmitted through the flu? I should talk to Dr. Swansea about it. Evening, Edgar. Could I get your professional opinion?
Please speak, but I have something important to tell you.
This strain of flu, it's very different from the one I saw in Europe. It's downright peculiar.
Really? What makes you say that?
I've just looked at the blood of one of our recently deceased.
I see. Do you have anything more to go on?
This disease spreads and looks like the Spanish flu, but its effects differ greatly. The London strain is different from the continental one.
This is very interesting. Did you find something else?
Yes. Unlike the flu, the infected begin to show an increase in outwardly aggressive behavior. More than simple agitation. Once docile people become violent.
You mean like rabies? Is there a chance we could create a vaccine, Jonathan, like Pasteur? By the stove, that would be smashing.
There's a lot we're not seeing here, but it is spreading, and quickly. If we don't act, the whole city could be lost.
But Jonathan, we've a fantastic opportunity sitting right here in front of us. A weapon of choice.
What on earth do you mean?
Why, you, my dear boy. With your expertise and your blood, we could isolate the properties that course through your veins. Think about the possibilities.
I admit it did occur to me. Blood seems to be the common factor in all of this.
I totally agree. We're in uncharted territory here. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but imagine the possibilities.
We'll discuss this more later. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you, Jonathan. But as I said, I needed to talk to you. I have some rather bad news.
Yes?
I'm afraid it's your sister.
My sister?
She's to be buried this evening at Whitechapel Cemetery. Your mother published the obituary this morning.
I see.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. Please accept my condolences.
I never thought I would have to attend my murdered sister's funeral. Mary, I can't forgive myself. I'll find the truth about what happened to us. I swear.
reach!
Best stay. Get them weapons ready. We down one. Christ! He's dead. Get a taste of this.
My dear sister, I don't know if I have the strength.
Somebody help! Somebody help! Who are you? What do you want?
Are you all right, miss?
I don't know. Who were those people? They wanted to kill me. Why?
They've lost their minds in the epidemic. They won't come back for now.
You seem to know a lot about them, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm investigating this disease.
I am Shaoshun. Thank you so much for helping me, Mr. Reed. I must go to the cemetery now. Goodbye.
Carnage. Is Father Whitaker's disciple among the bodies, I wonder? This man's far too old to be Samuel. No. By the look of his clothes, this man's a docker. Samuel isn't here. I had better follow the blood trail. As I feared. Samuel no longer preaches the good word. Since I can't reveal myself to my mother now, I must find a discreet spot to attend the ceremony.
I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. We commend unto thy hands of mercy, most merciful Father, the soul of our sister departed, and we commit her body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Why kill my Mary and stick her here in this cold, god-awful place?
These are the legal requirements for the epidemic, madam.
Oh, Avery, I feel so tired. Please take me home.
Yes, madam.
One thing. This is a nightmare.
Jonathan, there is nothing you can do but accept it.
What brings you here?
I thought you could use the company. I am so sorry for your loss, Jonathan.
She was a good person. Vibrant, full of life. She was kindness incarnate, my Mary.
You're a good person, Jonathan. And a young Ekon. A newborn cast into the night without so much as a candle to guide your way.
She had been scouring the most dangerous parts of London in search of me. And it led to her death.
Jonathan, don't.
I still hear her last thoughts. They echo in my head. Her mind shattered, and it haunts me.
Jonathan, stop. Listen carefully. You must come to terms with this. You must learn to live with what happened.
How is it possible? Tell me. Is it so easy to take a life every night, and then just smile and nod at those you spared?
Don't you see? You're doing the work of our enemies, feeding your remorse. We are weakest when we grieve, and the guilt blurs our senses.
And so this is why you're here. To warn me. You've felt this pain yourself. You too have endured this.
I don't want to lose you, Jonathan. I've lost so many friends. Loved ones I cherished. Pray for Mary's forgiveness, if you must.
You may be right.
Of course. I've stared upon this world for centuries, and time has taught me to deal with guilt, if not erase it.
What should I do then?
St. Mary's Church is not far from here. Go there and make your peace. Find the solace you need.
My lady wants me to confess.
No, Jonathan. It's you who wants to confess, I think.
Hello, sir. Sorry to disturb you at this hour. I'm a doctor inquiring about the epidemic. May I come in?
A doctor, you say? No, thank you.
All right.
Off to church he goes, a newborn seeking divine consent to lick the blood from the soft and pointy crown.
Who are you? Make yourself known.
Newborn, you reek of guilt and pointless compassion. Shed your skin, forget your old weaker self.
What do you want from me?
Ascalon does not approve of lone wolves who bring unwanted eyes to our pastures.
So your name is Ascalon?
Ascalon's will is vampire law. Learn them, abide by them, or I shall return as your judge and jury.
These immortals try my patience with their plans and unsolicited counsel.
Best turn around if I were you. Oh my God! Stay back,
This man stunned me with his faith. His crucifix. This is not good news.
Yes? What is it that you want?
I'm sorry to disturb you at such a late hour.
No worries, my son. I'm still quite awake, having just returned from a funeral.
Yes, I know. I've forgotten what I wanted. I don't know.
May I help you, child? You seem somewhat perturbed.
I haven't the strength to cross the threshold. I wish to pray, to cleanse my soul.
The church is shut by order of the bishop, but I'm still the vicar of St. Mary's, if that is any use to you, my son.
You seem to me a good soul, vicar, but this is a personal matter.
There are no secrets from God, my son. If your heart needs comfort, consider me your chapel, for I can be as silent as stone.
I've words for one departed. They're not for living ears to hear.
Your eyes burn with rage, yet I see the pain that lies beyond. I am here to lighten the burden of all God's creatures. Whatever you tell me is between us and the Lord.
Very well, priest, as you seem quite adamant.
Open your heart, my son. Tell me what burdens you. With whom do you wish to speak?
She was my sister.
You seem so troubled by the loss of this girl. What happened to her?
She was murdered.
I see. And how are you feeling, my son?
I feel responsible. The pain is consuming me.
I have a final question for you, my son. This is of the utmost importance.
Ask your question, Vicar.
What words would you like to say to your poor sister?
I'm so sorry, Mary. I promise to find who is responsible for all this. I'll put an end to this horror.
You have been heard, my son, and your burden will lighten if your words are sincere. Go in peace now, and live your life in the way she would have wanted.
There. I confessed to that vicar. Do I feel better? Only time will tell. Good evening, Mr.
It's fun.
I have found Samuel, your disciple. I am afraid I have bad news.
I already expected the worst. He should already have come back. He is dead, isn't he?
Yes, he is now. The epidemic took him.
Samuel steadily made donations to our cause. He would have rewarded you himself if you'd found me in that awful cemetery. Please accept this money.
Why did you send Samuel to the cemetery, Tobias? What did you see there?
I sent him on a vision. A dream of a dreadful and laughing queen covered with blood, sleeping with the dead and feeding on the fear of the dying.
A laughing queen dressed in blood. Tell me more.
This epidemic is her feast, the announcement of her return. Against her, science is no more than a child's toy.
But who is she?
She is the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth. She is Babylon, drunk on the blood of the saints.
Your disciple, Samuel, stole from the dead in Stonebridge Cemetery. I have proof of his crime and proof of his death.
No! Samuel was the best of us. So devoted, so zealous. He gave all he had for the cause. He tirelessly preached the good word.
He defiled the dead with his petty thefts. That's how he financed your misguided crusade.
Think what you will. When this city is saved, he will be praised for his devoted fortitude. He walked boldly into the mouth of abomination.
Your precious Samuel used you. He was an immoral crook.
If that's true, then he will be my burden to bear during this endless night.
Tobias Whitaker, confess why you burnt those people alive.
I have done what no one was ready to do. I will smite the flesh of the unclean to protect the righteous.
You are just another heartless murderer, exploiting the epidemic to kill with impunity.
No! No. The only way to contain the spread is to strike at the source itself. The proliferating sick.
You're not the savior of London. You're just a glorified sadist.
I take no pleasure in this awful cleansing, Dr. Reed. I am only driven by the thousands of innocents I save each night.
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
If you propagate the devil's work, you'll perish by the devil's work. Such is the law of the Lord.
I have heard...
Good evening, Doctor.
Have you...
It appears the dispensary is now a major source of contagion in Whitechapel. Someone should do something about it. But no one cares.
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want my readers to understand. We live in an intolerant and divided nation.
Do you think things will ever change, Mr. Darby?
I believe the situation can only improve. And now that women can vote, I'm convinced things will change.
Goodbye. sure Albert would like to know he's been accepted by the Wet Boot Boys.
Remorse and pain are precious when binding you to the earth.
You. I remember you.
Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me. Made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land. You are our champion.
Riddles and rhymes. You took my life. Now you insult my mind.
Be stilled, my child. I bring understanding.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur.
I've had enough of others making decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave.
So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one.
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
Leave him, Jonathan. This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned. By the sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
Very well. I'll help you.
I know this place means something to you. I have noticed how you suppress your appetite when around the staff and patients.
You need to know you can trust me, Edgar.
I do, dear fellow, I do.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
Do you really believe they would come for us here? In such a public venue?
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this. Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks. What on earth happened here? Good evening.
Evening.
Can you tell me anything about recent events at the hospital?
Before the shouts and the noises, I think I heard whispers coming from the stairs. 2 voices, maybe more.
Did you recognize the voices? What did they say?
I couldn't hear. Sounded like they were arguing or something.
Goodbye.
Damn. The pain.
Good evening, Nat.
Good evening.
Here again.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Everybody's afraid. Death has always been a frequent visitor. But murder? How can we cope with that?
As a nurse at this hospital, it is your duty to deal with these things as best you can.
Yeah. Until it's my turn to have blood spread all over the walls. I entered the room first, Dr. Reed. I've seen what that monster did to the woman.
Goodbye. Good evening, Miss.
I need blood, Doctor.
Is there anything you can tell me about the recent commotion here?
Many things can happen under cover of night, Dr. Reed. But I took no part in this massacre.
But did you see or hear anything?
I can't say I did. But the smell of fresh blood almost made me faint, Doctor.
Tell me, Thelma, what do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill. I saw his terrible wounds heal as his victim died. And then I knew I was saved.
You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes. And it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
No. You are deluded. You think you crave blood, but you have no physical need for it. You have no idea what that is like.
But what am I feeling? It cannot only be in my head. I know my flesh is rotting. I feel it. It disgusts me.
I'll leave you.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening.
What can you tell me about the recent events in the hospital?
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room, then ran away.
And did you see all this?
No. I was working by the tents when it all happened. I only entered the room when they asked me to clean up the blood.
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all happened so quickly.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital gates after the shouting started. At first I thought it was someone who was just scared, but well, maybe it was him.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
According to the report I read, your unprofessional conduct put a patient in danger, Gwyneth.
That's not true. I know when my patient's life is at risk, and I'm more competent than a lot of doctors that I know. Problem is, I'm a woman.
I don't see what your gender has to do with your abilities, nurse.
Yes, nurse. Because I'll never be a doctor, no matter what my skills. I could make a decision that could save a life, but oh no, that's unbecoming conduct.
Have you heard of Elizabeth Blackwell? She was the first woman listed on the UK Medical Register. Change is slow, but it will come. And you will always have my support.
To have the right to study shouldn't be determined by sex, skin, or wealth. That's all I'm saying.
Goodbye.
Oh, Jonathan, I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman, butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent. For there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
It's on to us!
civilians allowed.
Over there!
He's dead! This one's mine!
Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
Are you some kind of vigilante patrolling these streets at night?
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here. We are, see?
So you're a concerned criminal, is that it?
Using funny jokes about me and my boys, are you? Fuck. You must have some balls.
I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair.
I could kill you for saying that. But, nah. You've been a soldier. I can respect that.
So, tell me about your gang, then.
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cat. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Goodbye.